How's it going, guys? It's John. In this video, we're going to be talking about YouTube thumbnails. I've been needing to teach my bro how to make thumbnails for like 2 or 3 months now. He's always asking me, and we just never can make time, or one of us forgets, or one of us isn't in the mood. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to make a video so I can show him how to do it. And if anybody else cares, you can see how I make thumbnails. Okay, so the first thing is, we're going to make a thumbnail kind of like this. We're not going to have the girl in it. We're just going to have the letters and probably just the background. So it'll be a lot more simplistic. I'm basically just going to be showing you how to put in some letters and put a nice border around it. Maybe put some shadow or something on the bottom. It's going to be really quick. Okay, so first things first, I have a template already set up for this. It's just my YouTube thumbnail template. Also, I'm doing this on Clip Studio Paint. You probably could follow along on Photoshop. Photoshop is actually a lot better for making thumbnails, but like I said, this is Clip Studio Paint. So we're going over here to new. I already have this thumbnail template for YouTube thumbnails, which is 1280 width by 720 height. I have the resolution set for 300 DPI, which is pixels per square inch or some shit, or dots per inch. I don't remember. You could also set it to 72. I don't think that matters. Maybe it does matter. I'm not sure. I don't remember if this matters or not. The main thing that matters is this. Your width and height is 1280 by 720. That's the size of YouTube thumbnails. So I already have a template already set ahead of time. See, I have it called YouTube thumbnail template 1280 by 720. So this thing's already set up. Okay, so first things first. We're going to add a background. So we just got this screenshot from Final Fantasy. Pretty much, I'm just copying it over and pasting it into the pasting it onto the canvas. I just did Control-C, and then I just did Control-V over here and pasted it over here. You could also add in something, import over here. You can import an image and then bring in an image from wherever your screenshot is. You could do it like that also. I just do it this jank method because it's just quicker for me. Okay, so you're gonna notice first off, the image is too big for the canvas. So we're like, what the fuck? What do we do? It's too damn big. So all we're going to do is we're just going to resize it. You can just use the transform over here, transform, scale and rotate. I just have it set for a hotkey. That's how I did it instantly. So yeah, over here under edit, T, transform, scale, rotate. So we're just going to transform this. I think there is a way to actually snap it to the border, so you don't have to do it jank like I'm doing it, where I'm zooming in and getting it like pixel perfect. I'm pretty sure there is like a snap to or something, but I'm just too lazy to look it up, and I still haven't found out how to do that. Okay, so now we got our screenshot. It is to the size of the YouTube thumbnail, 1280 by 720. Okay, so what I usually do a lot of times is I will add on extra like correction layers to make it look shinier or brighter or whatever. I'll show you how to do that real fast. So we basically just right click the layer. We got our layer right here. We right click, and you need to right click over here. So you right click over here, see where it says new correction layer. And I usually do hue, saturation, luminosity. You can just click OK right here. We're going to look at it later. This is a small thing that I do. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just do this so it ensures I don't fuck up my layer order, which is, the order of all the layers on this side. I come over here to this button, which is clip to layer below, and I click that. See how there's like a little red line? This basically attaches it to this layer, so there's no way if I move the layer or something like that, like it basically just makes it so this layer is attached to it. So whatever I change is attached to that layer. So pretty much, so now that it's attached, I'm just basically increasing the saturation just to make the picture brighter. I don't always do this. It depends if it's a good picture or not. See, if we go make it super bright, see how it's making the colors like super crazy and like cartoony almost. You don't usually want to increase saturation too much. I usually increase it by like, I don't know, 10 to 20, something like that. Just a nice little bump because I like really bright colors. If you don't really like bright colors, you can reduce the saturation so you can make the image a lot more like washed out. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. But like I said, I usually do like 10 to 20. So we'll just go with 19. And then another thing I do sometimes, I'm adding another correction layer. Sometimes I will add the brightness and contrast. In particular with like dark pictures, I will like increase the contrast and the brightness to make the picture pop more so it makes it a little brighter. You don't have to do that. That's just something I do sometimes. So look at, this is how it normally looks, the picture. And then right over here, we're turning on the brightness, or we're turning on the saturation. Look at how much brighter it looks. Like the colors pop a lot more. That's why I usually do this. It makes it more eye-catching for people who are looking at the picture. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna actually add in the letters now. So I just clicked F1 to make a new layer because that's my shortcut. If you don't know, you can just come up over here to layer and then just click new layer. It's just a new raster layer. That's all you're doing. You can just click OK. I believe you can also do it from here. Yeah, you can just click right here also to add a new layer. This little button right here, it says new raster layer. All right, so we added a new layer, and then we're coming over here to the bottom left. See this little icon? There's like an A. This is how to put in text on CSP on Clip Studio Paint. I already have this set up ahead of time. See, I have these different tools like text, subtitle font, YouTube thumbnail font. This is the font I usually use, Impact. I usually have it around 40 to 45 pixels. So that's the size. I think that's it. I don't have anything else here that's special. No special settings or anything. It's just Impact 45 size usually. And I will adjust it and make it bigger or smaller. So we're going to do the same thing like this one. We're just going to type in what I wish I knew about something. All right, so actually you might have to make this smaller, but it might be better to make this smaller so you can actually see what you're writing. I usually just do this and then resize it afterwards. So you pretty much just, you got your letter tool, you just click anywhere on the screen. It'll automatically just make a whole new layer for you. I usually just create another layer just cause. All right, so we're just typing it in. We're just putting what I wish I knew about. We can come up here to the edge of the letter selection to drag it. I'm putting what I wish I knew about the sky, just to make it a little different. And then we're just clicking this little check mark right here just to confirm that we're done with the letters. There's probably a better way to do this. Right now, I just clicked my selection tool, which is up here to move the layer. So you can move it around if you want to move things around. If you're wondering, what did he just do? So what I usually do is, this is probably really jank and professionals are probably going to see this and be like, what the fuck are you doing? I just click this button to merge the layer below because when the letters are on this layer, see how it shows the little A? It's like a letter layer or whatever it's called. You can't manipulate the letters. Like you can't, put colors on them or whatever. So what I do is I basically just click this button, merge with layer below. So now the letters are on a regular raster layer. So now I can manipulate the letters all that I want. Can you still see my cursor? Okay, cool. This is the first time I ever made a video on Clip Studio Paint. Okay, so the next thing I do, so we have this layer is our letters layer. We'll just rename it real quick so that way you guys can see. We'll call it letters. I do not like name my layers at all. This is just to show you guys like, oh, letters. So if you guys are watching this video, you can like see, oh, okay, he called it letters or whatever. Okay, so we called it letters. The next thing I do is I come over here. See this little button right here? It says lock transparent pixels. The reason why we put this on, see how there's like this little icon now next to the letters? When you lock the transparent pixels, basically what it allows you to do is you could change the color. So coming over here, you could basically just look at, bam, I can just make the whole thing orange or whatever color I want, and it will only paint onto the letters. So that's why locking transparent pixels is super fucking nice. I think you can also use the bucket tool to do that too. Yeah, see, it'll just paint everything. I just like painting shit. So I don't usually use the bucket tool, but if you want, you can use this tool over here, the fill button, refer only to editing layer, and you could use that to fill in. So you don't have to draw a bunch of shit like how I do. I make this giant sized pen and then I draw over it. There's a button I'm using, in case you're wondering how is he doing that. There's a button I'm using on my commands. I forget what it's called, but it basically just lets you change the size of your brush by holding right click. I have a pen. See? Ooh, pen. On my tablet. I don't know if you probably couldn't do that if you had a regular drawing tablet, or I don't know if you could do that with a mouse. If you don't have a drawing tablet or a pen tablet with buttons, you can always just come down here and change the size of your brush. That's how you normally do it. Okay, so let's see, what else? Okay, so we got our letters. Usually what I do is I resize them. So I will be like, okay, again, I'm using more shortcuts and I'm not thinking about what shortcuts I'm using. I come over here to selection. I have it set for M. I just set it to a rectangle selection so that way I can select all this shit. Usually what I'll do is I will make the words, like the major part of the title is the sky. Like people are looking up guides about the sky. So usually what I'll do is I'll make the main topic of the title bigger than the other words. And then the other words which are supporting the title, I'll usually make them smaller. And you can, you know, you can position your title somewhere else around if you want it to look different or whatever. This is just very simplistic. I'm just showing you how to make some letters and put some shadow behind them. So, okay, so we got our sky. All right, so the next thing we're doing is we're going to add shadow. So we're going to right click on the letters layer. We're going to come down here to selection from layer. And then we're going to create selection. So we created this selection. See how there's like the little dots all around here? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is right here, this button, it's the fourth button. It says expand selected area. We're going to click on that one. We're going to make it 5 pixels. Usually it's set for like 1. You can just set it for 5. I guess, I don't know what the setting is. I guess it goes like in a square. This is like rounded edges or something. I didn't even realize this. I need to look into that. I usually set mine for 5 pixels. You can set it to however much you want. I'm going to show you what this is going to do. So it basically is making a bigger selection around the letters. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our layers. We're going to add a new layer. In case you forgot, you could just, what is it? This button right here, new raster layer. I just click F1. So this is the layer underneath the letters. So we're going to call this shadow. So we still got our selection on the screen. Don't click the screen because if you, let's say we like clicked our selected area, it will undo the selection. So just make sure you don't click the screen or something because it'll undo it. And you'll be like, what the hell? And if that happens to you, you can just come up here to undo and it'll reset your selection. So in case you fuck up or you click the screen on accident. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing, I'm switching to my G pen, which is just this pen tool over here. The reason why I'm using this tool is because it's a solid brush. Again, you could just use the fill tool if you want. That's probably the smarter thing to do. But like I said, see, like you could just use the fill tool and bam, it just like adds all the black underneath the color or underneath the letters. All the black is underneath the letters because it's the layer underneath the letter layer right here. If I were to drag the letters underneath, see how the black is over the white letters. So yeah, there is our border. If you want, you could make a bigger border too. Like let's say that's too big. Maybe that's too big or too small to you. You're like, oh, I don't like that border. I wish it was smaller or bigger. Well, just same thing. Come over here, selection layer, create a selection, expand it. If it's too small to you, you could set it to like maybe 2 pixels, for example, and just bam. See, that looks a little better. See, this is more like the thick lines like I do, and this is more thinner. Or if even then you're like, dude, that's too small. I want it like 20 or something. That's really too big. Okay, not 20. We'll do like, I don't know. We'll do 10. Hopefully that's not too bad. Yeah, see, maybe you want like super thick border. So you would do 10. Look at that. Bam, that's some fat ass thick border around it. We're just going to go with my 5 like I usually do. I'm just deleting layers right there. Okay, so we got our 2 things. In case you want to select them both at the same time, if you want to move them around, which I do a lot, you can just click on one of them. Like let's say we're clicking on shadow. You hold control to click on the other one. So now you have both layers selected. Now I'm using the move layer tool. So see now, ooh, cool. Now I can move the whole thing around. Or let's say I wanted to move the letters around. I switched to the selection tool and I was like, oh, I don't like where this top part is. I want to put it over here instead. So now I'm selecting all these letters, even though they're still on the same layer. And then I can just click here to deselect. Maybe I want to move this one over here or something. So just keep that in mind. That's something you can do if you want to move your letters around, like you don't like where their position was. You can do it after the fact by selecting both layers. So that way you don't fuck up the shadow. Because see, like if I had just done this right now without selecting the shadow, I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? My white's over here and the black's over here. So by selecting both layers with control click, Now I'm like, ooh, cool. Now I can select both of them. Okay, cool. So we're done there. That's pretty much the gist of it, guys. This is like the simple thing that you need to do. Like I said, we locked the layer. So now you could just change your colors. Like, let's say you wanted it to be gold or something. You wanted like a gold color or something like that. Bam, you could do that. What I wish I knew about the sky. And then you could make this blue or something. Although you don't really want to do that because this background's already blue. I'll probably talk about that in another video, I guess. You don't want to have your letters usually the same color as the background. You want the letters to be contrasting. So since it's blue, you want to get like an opposite color. Whatever the color is, just some quick and dirty color theory. Let's say the background is blue, so I'm using the color drop tool to select the color, which is over here somewhere. Eyedropper. There you go. Eyedropper. I just have it set to Alt for a shortcut. So I selected the color. See, look, it's this blue. Some quick color theory 101. You usually want to get the color that's opposite of whatever the color is. So in this case, it was blue. So a good contrast would be like an orange. So see, it contrasts a lot better if we went like a brighter orange. Bam. That's like really contrasty. So yeah, you usually want to have contrasting colors. Or if you just want it to be simplistic and you don't give a shit about it, you can always just go with the white and black. That will contrast pretty good. So yeah, I'm just showing one last thing. What I do to my letters, usually I put like a little thing on the bottom of them. I made a new layer right here. And again, like last time, I'm just coming over here, clip the layer below. What I'm using the airbrush tool, which is over here. I just have it on soft. If you want to look at my settings right here. And then I usually will make it so it's a little bit like blue. See how it's like kind of, it's about down 17 or so saturation. Just copy what I'm doing. Don't worry about the details. I'm getting around here and I'm getting in the blue. So it's not quite gray. It's more like a blue that we're using. And then I'm using the spray tool or the airbrush tool to add this border on the bottom. So see how it makes them look kind of like shiny or something. I don't know how to describe it. It makes them look cool. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. That's just something extra I do. You could totally get away with just having solid color letters. Tons of people who are really famous a lot of times will just use solid white letters and stuff like that. And yeah, you look at like political people, they do that shit all the time. They'll have these fat ass letters that are, covering the whole screen, like Biden killed a puppy today or some shit. And then they put Biden's face on the side and these fat ass letters. Yeah, it's really simple. You don't have to do crazy colors and all that shit if you don't want to. All right, we'll just try making this bigger real fast. We're using the transform tool. In case you're wondering how I did that, let me show you. You can just come over here to edit, transform, scale, and rotate. We're doing that again. I'm just making the letters bigger. You usually don't want to make letters bigger than the starting resolution because a lot of times they'll get kind of blurry. For YouTube thumbnails, you really don't have to worry about that. It's going to be a shitty picture that YouTube is going to fuck up when you upload it anyways. So don't really worry about it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I would just do usually what I do is I would just make it so the topic of the title is maybe a different color than the rest of the words. So it's like emphasizing this. It's still, the background is a little different. So it's probably not best to do that. One last thing you can do to check to see if your words are contrasting good with the background, if their words are popping out really good, you can make a new layer, come over here to the layer settings. You can come down here to color, set it for color. And then what I'm doing is changing it to black right here. And then I'm using the fill tool, making it black and white. The reason why you would do this is like an extra neckbeard step that you can do to check your colors. You're basically making it monochrome so that way you can test to see okay, if somebody's looking at this, obviously the white is definitely sticking out. And then these letters, they kind of are blending in. If you look at the color of the letter, they're kind of similar. So maybe we should go with something a little darker. Maybe some darker letters. See how now these really stick out, and we're coming over here back to the color layer. Look at that. It contrasts a lot better. This is a cheat code you can do to check your colors in case you don't understand color theory or all that shit, which I don't. That's a cheat code you can use to see if your colors of your letters contrast good or not with the background. So see how it like definitely pops a lot more, the contrast between these two. Although I would not probably use the start color, I would do something else. One last little tip you can do, what I usually do is I'm adding a new layer underneath the shadow layer. If you're not happy with how the colors are, like let's say we were actually using this gold, and let's look at our color layer, see how it's kind of similar. It's almost, it doesn't pop as much. All right, so let's say you were using a color that doesn't contrast as well with the background. So cheat code, what you could do is just add some more shadow in the back. So what I usually do is I'll add another layer underneath the shadow, and then you could make another selection if you want to. What I usually do is I just use a brush. So I will go over here, put it on black. I'm using our airbrush tool again, and I will usually just add a little bit of black to the background. Not like too crazy, not like that. Like don't do that. Just add a little bit of black. Not a whole lot, just a tiny bit. No, that's too much. Just to make the letters pop out more from the background. So that's something you can do. And then also another cheat code, like I just realized I just did right now. I do so many of these things without thinking, so I have to like really pay attention to what I'm doing. You don't really ever want to be working on something super big so it's taking up too much of your visual field. I mean, you can if you want to, but then the problem is you usually focus too much on the details. So every so often you want to use, again, I'm not even thinking about the tools I'm using. You can use the zoom tool up here. I just have it set for Z, and then every time I go in or out, it'll zoom in or out. Every so often you should zoom out the canvas so you can see how it looks. So that way you're like, oh, okay, like, you know, the letters look good from far away, because realistically, that's what somebody's going to see when they're looking at YouTube. So it's good to like zoom out your picture. When you're done making the thumbnail, it's really good to like zoom out so it's fucking tiny for you. So you're like, okay, that's what the person's going to see. Because from far away, all they can really see is like the sky or like the blue, you know? They're not going to see too much of the detail. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, you can use, I have a shortcut for it. Oh, right here, rotate, flip. Yeah, flip horizontal. This is what you can do also to make sure, so you can see it basically backwards. So you can see how the letters look. A lot of times when you flip the canvas like this, seeing a picture backwards can help you to really like see the picture in a different way. Because a lot of times when you're working on a picture, looking at it from one perspective, your brain kind of just goes on this railroad track of like, yeah, it looks good. But then if you try flipping it, like I said, with the flip function up here, when you see something backwards, a lot of times you will realize that you're like, oh shit, it looks fucked up backwards. Like I didn't realize how fucked it looked. So that's another trick you can do. Flip the canvas and zoom out so you can see like, oh, see any glaring errors, like maybe the letters were fucked up or covering something that you wanted to be shown in the picture or something like that. Okay, I think that's about it, guys. We got our letters. I'm not going to show you how to make like gold shiny letters or nothing like that. I just wanted to show basically just how to make some letters, how to put a shadow border around it, and that's it. I ended up talking about a bunch of other crap. Make sure you, some last words, make sure you save your work. I usually will like save as, and then I will just name it something else. Like I'll just be like, oh, this is, well, I'll call it like sky thumbnail, or, you know, let's say like sky video thumbnail. I usually put just thumb, and I will save it as a Clip Studio Paint format, just so in case I need it in the future or whatever reason. It's good to save your files like that. They're usually pretty small too. And then lastly, we're just going to show you the export step. So we come over here to File. We come over here to Export. Make sure it's a PNG, because PNGs are usually a lot better for YouTube thumbnails. The reason why that is because JPEGs are better for like pictures, whereas PNGs are better for like sharp objects like text and things like that. Or, you know, like for posters and stuff like that. So that's the reason. You usually want to use PNG. You don't have to. You can use JPEG if you want. Because to be honest, fucking YouTube is going to compress the shit out of your thumbnail. It's going to look like garbage anyways. So it probably doesn't fucking matter. But I just do PNG just because. So you just come over here, you click save. And then I got to drag this over here. Make sure on these settings. I don't change any of these settings. At least I don't think. You can pause the video, compare your settings. Make sure right here the scale ratio, make sure you set it to 100%. So it's 1280 by 720, because if you put it less than that, let's say you put it for like 70% or something, it's going to make the picture a lot smaller than what YouTube wants. So make sure it's 1280 by 720, 100% resolution. Pretty much just click OK. I got to drag it over here so you can see it. And then it says, oh yeah, here's the picture. Hold on, let me resize. Here's the picture. And then you just click OK, and that's it. And then you can just come over to your, wherever your folder is. You can see all my million fucking videos I'm working on. So you can come over to where your folder is and look at, there's your project file, and then here is the actual thumbnail. Bam, check that out. Here is a thumbnail. What I wish I knew about the sky. So yeah, I think that's about it, guys. That's the video. That is how to make some letters for a thumbnail and lots of other random crap that I was talking about. So yeah, thank you for watching. For those of you who watched this video, like I said, it was mostly for my bro. So bro, watch this fucking video. Now we don't have to worry about doing this shit. You can just watch the video and, you know, now you know how to make letters and stuff. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.